liftoff.
Hey, isn't we supposed to be having a fiesta?
Watch this.
Hey, isn't we supposed to be having a fiesta?
Spurs Nation, it's a great day. How are you doing out there, my international amigos of Spurs Nation? Training camp has begun. Media day went down yesterday, and we're going to talk about it all, right? So what we got on deck for today is we're going to go over some Spurs news, right? But first off, welcome to another episode of Spurs Film Room Live on a Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Go Spurs Go, wherever you're at in the world. A big Go Spurs Go to you. It's going to be a great season. Let me know in the chat where you're watching from and where you're chanting Go Spurs Go from. Appreciate you stopping by and watching and subscribing and supporting this channel. So Spurs Film Room Live is brought to you by SpursTubeTv and SpursTubeTv.com. That is a website that houses a lot of Spurs content, videos, podcasts, and is the home of After the Buzzer, the post-game show that we're going to be bringing to you this season. It's going to be a lot of fun on SpursTubeTv and SpursTubeTv.com. So make sure that you tune in and subscribe to that channel as well. So we're going to go over some Spurs news today. Media day went down yesterday. There's a lot to talk about, from the interviews that went down yesterday. Then we got a little bit of intel today about training camp and how training camp went down. And then towards the last 15, 20 minutes of the show, I'm going to be doing a live chat, Spurs Q&A with you guys live. I'm going to try to start incorporating this at the end of our Tuesday shows. And just a little housekeeping information, if you haven't been keeping up with us yet, Thursday at 8:30 p.m. is going to get moved to Saturdays midday, probably around 10 a.m., 11 a.m. on Saturdays. That's Thursday show being pushed back a few more days. All right. That's for a few reasons. One, so we can do more post games for you guys throughout the week and provide a lot of cool content for you on SpursTubeTv. And also so I can produce more film breakdowns for you throughout the season. So stay tuned. Thank you guys for subscribing to this channel and supporting this channel. Those of you guys that have been here since day one, I really do appreciate you guys. So let's get into Media Day, right? So Media Day was yesterday. It was a lot of fun seeing the Spurs back in the house, taking pictures, interacting with one another. We got a lot of information, right? So first thing that I want to kind of go over is the fact that, these four people right here, I mean, Pop's always going to be, the head, the captain that's going to lead this team to victory, right? That's always going to be Coach Pop, right? So Coach Pop had a few things to say about the group that is here. Keldon Johnson, Dejounte Murray, and Derrick White, from what I heard, are going to be taking that leadership load this season. And I want to kind of talk about what they said yesterday. There were a few more clips, interviews that went down yesterday with Lonnie Walker, Doug McDermott. They had some things to say that were great, but I really want to focus in on what Pop said, DJ, Derrick, and Keldon, who are going to be kind of the new face and the new backbone to this organization. So let's get right into it, huh? Coach Pop, first thing I want to talk about, I'm going to go over some of the quotes that stood out to me. Like I said, there was a lot in these interviews, but one of the quotes that stood out to me for sure was that he's thrilled. I'm quote unquote, Pop said, "I'm thrilled with this group. Young, energetic, lots of speed. We are not worried about stats or individual honors. It's going to be a simple stuff on both ends, offense and defensive side. The pace should be enjoyable to watch. It's exciting to me." So first off, Coach Pop talking about, the team and the pace and the unselfishness of the guys in the locker room was good to hear. Pop went on to say that Derrick's, this is something that Pop was talking about when asked about who's expected to play and what starting lineups can you expect to see throughout the season. Well, Pop went on to say that Dejounte, Derrick, Lonnie, Keldon, Devin are going to play, right? He specifically named those young players that have been on this team that we're invested in, that they are actually going to get this run. Everyone else will be punched in here and there. Any given game, it can totally go. It can be totally different people who get that time that night. What he's saying is that our core foundation is going to be built off of our young players: Derrick, Dejounte, Lonnie, Keldon, Devin. Other guys like Bryn, Doug McDermott, some of these other pieces that we've added to the puzzle, even guys like Luka Samanic, Trey Jones, they're going to be given their opportunity throughout the season, and it's going to be a mix and match type of thing. Pop went on to say, it's not a negative to say, but we don't have superstars. It's filled with great character and a lot of will. That's what's going to make it fun. All right. So that was Pop's initial quotes this training camp, right? From media day. I mean, he had a lot more to say, like I said, but what's very interesting to me about what Pop brought to the interview was that he was excited. He was excited about the unknowns, but he was pretty sure about a few things about the way that we're going to play. He was talking about the pace and that we should be fast, and the fact that it's a good thing that we don't know who's going to be that go-to guy at the end of the game, but that opportunity is going to be given. And I think that's something that we can take away from his interview, is that the time is now. The time is now for these young guys to get that opportunity, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see him play. So let's go ahead and go on to Dejounte Murray. Dejounte Murray, first off, you can tell there was something different about Dejounte in this training camp. In this media day, if you've seen Dejounte in the previous media days in his career, he's been very energetic, very happy, very happy about being back in the gym, and a lot of swagger to Dejounte usually. But in this media day, there was something different. You can tell that he has had a rough summer. Dejounte was very melodramatic, very calm, very poised in everything that he said. And when I say he had a rough summer, I'm talking about personal things, right? He had the death of a member of his family, his sister. And you can just tell that the perspective on DJ is different, and that he's coming into this training camp with a mindset of like, this is just a game, because he just had a real life situation happen to him. And I don't think that was asked or that was brought up in the interview, and 100% respect to everybody for doing that. But it's definitely something that Spurs Nation has on their mind, is how is Dejounte doing? And we all kind of feel, for Dejounte and his loss, and we all wish him nothing but the best out here in Spurs Nation. Go Spurs, go. But I was very interested to hear what Dejounte had to say. So let's kind of get into it a little bit. The main quote that I pulled out was, when asked about his leadership and what his role is, and he says, my mentality is always the same: to be a leader by example, by his work, and how he carries himself. And he went on to say that, he was a leader even when LaMarcus was here, when DeMar was here, that he was always being vocal and making sure that everybody was kind of held accountable. DJ has been that rock for us since he's been in this organization. Even as a young player, he's said that, he's always had that leadership mentality. So Dejounte went on to say, when asked about the ceiling of this team, he said, as far as the ceiling, you don't want to put limits on anything when you work hard and have the ability to learn. And I love that response from Dejounte. I know he had an Instagram post saying that this is his time, this is his year, it's going to be the best year of his career in year 6. But what he's saying here is that, look, because that was a question that was asked a few times in media day, was, what do you think the ceiling is of this team? And this is the best answer that I've heard so far. And it's just like, look, man, we don't have a ceiling. And that's the attitude you need to have when you're a young team, young player, and you're going up against the world. You go, we can be as good as who knows, but we're going to find out. And as long as we put in that work day to day and continue to learn and to grow, the sky is the limit. And so I love that quote. He went on to say, with this group, I look at everybody when the summer started, and you see faces in the gym and open gym, from open gym in the summer to training camp. Everyone's kind of been in there putting in that work, and asking questions, right? Asking questions, having fun, competing, and that the chemistry off the floor in this team is unbelievable. He said that we're all almost the same age, so we have relationships there, and it's going to transfer onto the court and onto the basketball court. We just have to come out here and compete. So that was the main message that I took from Dejounte is that, yeah, we're good. We're putting in work. A lot of these guys are in here to work, and we're not going to put a ceiling on ourselves, and we're going to hang our hat on the defensive end. One of the common threads between our two leaders now of the team, I'm dubbing them the two co-captains of the team. I don't think that's been said or in any way, but Dejounte and Derrick both were talking about hanging their hats this year on the defensive end. Go Spurs, go, guys. Hope you guys are having a wonderful time. Thank you for joining in. I'm looking at the chat room really quick. Shout out to you, Wayne Bruce from Brazil. Go Spurs, go. Go Spurs, go from Hong Kong. That's Edmund out there. It's good to have Spurs Nation across the world. Aaron, go Spurs, go. Jonathan, go Spurs, go. Anthony, go Spurs, go from Los Angeles. Thank you guys for joining us here tonight as we discuss Media Day and Training Camp Day 1 breakdown. So we're going to continue here with Media Day, right? So let's go ahead and get off Dejounte a little bit and talk about what Keldon had to say, right? So Keldon, when asked again about, how good this team can be and how no one really knows, what's going to happen, Keldon went on to say, that's the scary part. I feel like we can be really good, but I can't put a ceiling on how good we can be as a group or a unit, but I think we can be really good. Keldon Johnson went on to say in the interview, we're really young, but I feel like we are ready to go out there and compete, and we're all on the same page, and we all have each other's back. And that is all you can ask out of a team. We are going to go out there every night and give it everything that we got. And when asked specifically, Keldon, what's your role on this team? He said, I'm going to lead by example. And he talked about him, DJ, and Derrick, and how that they stay in the gym and they stay ready and that they stay working on their craft. And all the other guys he mentioned are exactly the same way on this group. So for such a young group, we have a really tight bond. That's something that we've heard from a few different players from Media Day, is that the bond with this group is real. There is a real camaraderie here. I remember talking about this when they got drafted, and Keldon and Luka were out there in Vegas and going through their whole rookie season in Austin together. I thought that was going to build a great relationship for them when they actually do get this responsibility and tick on the court. And we're about to see it come to fruition here. But Keldon, they asked him a lot about his gold medal, and he talked about what a great accomplishment that was. But right after that gold medal was done, he was like, back to work. What can I do to get better? How can I help this team? And Keldon has that mindset of, hey, when we, big capital W, big capital E, when we are defending as a unit and having each other's back, any given night that they're going to go out there and be able to win basketball games. And that's the big message that I got from Keldon, is that they're ready to go and that they're tight, that they're a tight group. I think for the past few years, I don't think we've had any knuckleheads on our team or anything like that, but with DeMar and Rudy, and then when LaMarcus was here, there was always some friction. I feel like behind the scenes, behind the curtain, very passive aggressive friction, right? Like, I don't think they're going out and talking mess to each other or whatever. But you can just tell they weren't really clicking. They didn't really enjoy it that much playing. It was more of a job. And that's kind of that's the way that it's felt for the past few years. And I think what we're seeing here from Media Day is that this group really does love being around each other. There was some footage that came out with them partying in Austin the other night. So I just think this young group is hungry and they're ready, just like Keldon is saying. All right, so let's go on to see what Derrick White said and kind of what I took out of that interview as well. So Derrick White said, we never really worried about that, me and him. Whoever just gets it, brings it up, and makes the right play for the team. Derrick was asked about, who's going to be the point guard? Is it going to be you or Dejounte? And that was his response. They don't really worry about that. They don't talk about that. And he mentioned that they've played together throughout their couple years, on the floor together while they've been healthy, that they have limited time, but they know each other very well. They know each other and how they like to play. They know where their spots are on the floor. And Derrick White is basically saying it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the point guard is. That he also mentioned that there's a lot of people that are capable of playing that point guard position, and that whoever gets the ball just brings it up, right? That's Derrick's response to that question. Now, this is about Derrick White's health. When asked, Derrick White, are you healthy? How are you feeling? Are you ready to go? And kind of piggybacking off what happened to him last season, Derrick White went on to say this. Well, I landed on Jakob's foot. Can't avoid that. Got COVID. Hopefully won't get that no more. I broke my toe, which the doctor said he hasn't seen something like that before. So that's got to be a freak accident kind of thing. So hopefully all that is in the past. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling healthy, probably more healthy than I have felt in a couple of years. So I'm looking forward to this season. So that was a big question, I think, for everyone heading into this training camp is how healthy is Derrick White? Is Derrick White going to be healthy enough to carry this team and be like the number one, number two guy, which I think from everything that we're hearing out of media day is that Derrick and Dejounte are going to be the main 1-2 punch. And then you're going to get a lot of young guys in there as well. So hearing this about Derrick White's health is great news. It's great that he's feeling good. He's been in the videos playing in training camp and getting after it. He's 100% healthy. They don't have him on any type of restriction. So he's there 100% ready to go. So the main thing is just keeping him at 100%. Now, when he went on to say that he's looking forward to this season and that this is the most healthy he's felt in a couple years, I totally agree with that. Now, let me kind of backtrack you. Let me backtrack you through Derrick White's career in the past 2 seasons. And let me give you some context of what he means by this is the healthiest he's felt in a couple of years. In the summer of 2019, that was coming off of the season where he went into the playoffs against Denver, right? The full season that was. He had foot injuries that season. He dealt with nagging issues during the 2018 season. Right after that playoff run against Denver, he goes into FIBA basketball and does that FIBA run with Team USA, and then comes into the bubble year, the start of the bubble year, where he was coming in off the bench. They kind of had him on a restriction. Him and Dejounte were splitting time. He was the backup point guard. But you can tell, like, hey, man, this guy was in the playoffs and then went right into Team USA and then right into training camp. And then that season, he was kind of, I don't want to say put on a leash, but he definitely wasn't let like off the leash after his breakout performance against Denver. And then the whole COVID year happens. And then once they get into the bubble, he gets hurt in the bubble, right? So he gets hurt in the bubble. So in the span of 2 years, he's been putting his body through a lot. And he went through a lot while he was wearing that USA jersey too. I mean, that's a physical game playing in the FIBA games. And so, getting hurt in the bubble and then starting this past season. Now we're at this past season where he started off with a toe injury. He re-injured his toe. And he got COVID and everything that happened. He missed the last 10, 12, 15 games, whatever it was, because of re-injury to his ankle, right? Landing on Jakob's foot. A lot of poor guy, man. A lot of bad circumstances, a lot of things that he can't control. And that's what happens, man, when you play like Derrick. Derrick White does not leave an ounce of energy in the tank when he's on the floor. He's going to run into that charge. He's going to run for that block, and he's going to put his body on the line. So to hear that Derrick is 100% healthy right now and that he's feeling the best that he's felt. I mean, guys, he just got married too a few weeks ago, right? I mean, I think you guys all know that too. Like Derrick White just got married. So now he's got that married hat on and got that married man mentality. It's a little bit more mature. It's a little bit more honed in, right? I'm telling you from experience, right? When I got married to a lot of when you get married, a lot of the extra stuff in your life just goes away. It goes away. You focus in on your relationship and your marriage. And I'm sure that Derrick White's going to be doing that as well. So shout out to Derrick White for being healthy this year, right? So let me see. So before we go on to training camp today, just to kind of recap, Lonnie Walker had a interview as well and just talked about a lot of the same things that these guys were preaching, and that they were going to play fast and they all have each other's back, and that the expectation amongst the players is high. The expectation from Pop is like, I don't know, but it's going to be fun to see. So definitely the hype train is going. Like the San Antonio Spurs hype train from Media Day, I think was like in full steam ahead, right? You had 2 or 3 guys throwing the coal in the fire pit and the train, right? And that thing is pushing along, because I think most of Spurs Nation is extremely excited. One, that Coach Pop has kind of vocally expressed that guys like Devin Vassell and Lonnie are gonna play, right? And Keldon, that they're gonna get the minutes, they're gonna get the touches, and that we're gonna put this season on their backs. Now, I implore you to remember this, Spurs Nation. Later on in this season, this is what we're gonna see. Now, I don't think we need to worry about guys like Bryn or guys like Doug McDermott or guys like Thaddeus. And we're going to get into Thaddeus Young here in a second and talk about what the deal is with Thaddeus Young. I think that the minutes are going to be there for these guys and the opportunity is going to be there. So that's very exciting. Not just for Coach Pop, but for the rest of Spurs Nation. So apparently, another thing that he said is the fact that, there's no ball stoppers on this team, that a lot of these guys love to share the ball on and attack, and the ball's free flowing, right? And that was something good to hear. Kind of jumping back into this chat room really quick. Just want to give a shout out to everyone hanging out. Diamonds G, Go Spurs Go from Cali. Thank you for hanging out. Let me see. Also, we have Mark Homesilo. Go Spurs Go from the Philippines. Go Spurs Go, man, all the way from across the world, man. Thank you guys for hanging out. So yeah, guys. So okay, we got another one. We got Peter JS Cho. Go Spurs Go from Singapore. Thank you guys for hanging out with a kid from Texas, man. For a guy from Texas, thank you so much. I'm not a kid. I'm 32, right? But thank you guys for hanging out. All right, guys. So back to the Prezi here. What I heard out of Media Day is all positive. I think it's everything that Spurs Nation wanted to hear, and there was a lot of clarity into what the plan might be. And the plan is to play fast, to play to the strengths of our young players, and not worry about who's getting touches and who's getting the shots, because I don't think any of these players really are. They want to play together, they want to have fun, they want to see each other succeed. So that's kind of what I got, right? What I got. Phil Allen says, Go Spurs Go from San Antonio. We can't forget Big San Antonio. Shout out to San Antonio, 2-0, Countdown City, Say Town. All right, so let's get back to the Prezi, guys. So today was the first day of training camp. Let me zoom through here. All right, so today was the first day of training camp. I had my ear to Twitter and had my eyes to Twitter. I was watching Spurs.com trying to see if I can get a glimpse of these full interviews. I wasn't able to get a glimpse of the full interview, but there was a lot of clips of them on Twitter. So we got to get a lot of good sound bites from Thaddeus Young and Jakob. So we're going to talk about those two guys in training camp day one when we get right back from hearing about SpursTubeTv, guys, is the home of After the Buzzer, the post-game show that you want to be watching this season. Head over to SpursTubeTv.com and subscribe to SpursTubeTV on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you guys watch your content. Go Spurs Go to Pax Langworthy from Melbourne, Australia. Aussie in the house, man. And, really quick, it was a little bit bittersweet to see Patty Mills doing his media day stuff in Brooklyn, man. But it looks like he's having a blast in Brooklyn. So shout out to Patty Mills. And hey, man, Jock Landale's is Landale's. He from Melbourne, I believe. He's from Melbourne or around there. So thank you, Tim, for the compliment, man, on that commercial. I've been trying hard. That's all me, guys. Everything behind SpursTubeTv. If you love my show, you're going to love SpursTubeTv and the post-game shows that we bring you guys and the content that we bring you guys. Go Spurs Go from Guillermo Munoz from Houston. Shout out H-Town. Spurs fan in H-Town. Hey, you better not be, you might be the only one there. I know H-Town, there's not a lot of Spurs fans over there. So shout out to Houston, though. Love Houston. Love visiting Houston. All right, so now, when we're talking about what happened today in training camp, first let's talk about the clarity that we kind of have now. We kind of have some clarity on Thaddeus Young's situation with the Spurs, right? I don't know why I jumped back here. Let me go back. All right, so Thaddeus Young had an interview today after practice. First off, Thaddeus Young is there at training camp. And I believe so is Al-Farouq Aminu. Now, some of my big questions heading into training camp is like, what are we going to do with these two guys? Because technically we don't have room on our roster for two players. Two players got to go. And when you're talking about the recipe that we've been kind of taking our time to brew here and experiment with, I would say that guys like Thaddeus Young aren't really in those plans. But I've also been saying all season long that I would love to have Thaddeus Young on the team this year. And I would love to have Al-Farouq Aminu on the team this year. But there was some clarity from Thaddeus Young in one of his interviews. And this is a quote from the interview, but I got it off of Ty Yeager. Shout out Ty Yeager on Twitter. Thad went on to say, me and Brian Wright and Pop have talked. Whatever happens, happens at this point. But for me, I'm going to show up each and every day to do my job. So first thing that you got to know about Thaddeus Young being at training camp is that he's doing the professional move. He's showing up. He's showing up to training camp. Now, we know throughout the whole NBA, there's a lot of players that when they're not happy or they're in a situation, they don't want to show up to training camp, a la Ben Simmons right now and everything that Philadelphia is going through. Shout out to Phoenix from It's Me, Spurs fan in Phoenix. Shout out to Juan Horiegui. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, from Austin. Shout out to Austin and Phoenix Spurs fans in the house. Thank you guys for stopping by. So the first thing that we got to know is that Thaddeus Young is being professional and he's showing up to work. And to me, that speaks volumes, one, on his character, which is something I think a lot of people know about Thaddeus Young, even though you don't know anything about him, is that you know that he's just like a pro. It doesn't matter if he's on the worst team in the NBA or the best team on the NBA. You're going to get the best out of Thaddeus Young, no matter where he's at. And he went on to talk about that too, that he has that reputation of being a professional. So he seems like he's enjoying his time right now in San Antonio, that he's enjoying being around the organization. He's enjoying being around the team. He went on to say in the interview that he thinks that this team is very versatile and that there can be a lot of different lineups and that you have enough depth on this roster to go for 48 minutes, to compete at a high level for 48 minutes. That was his take on our kind of squad right now. So he's enjoying being around this team right now. Now, all that being said, do I still expect him to be on the roster? No, I don't. I just can't see it. I can't see it going down because unless the Spurs are going to make the tough call and letting go of Keita Bates-Diop, who they just signed to a 2-year deal, unless they feel like letting go of Drew Eubanks, who's been in our system for about 3 or 4 years now and has been growing every step of the way and is a big part of the young culture of this team. So unless we're willing to let go of some players, I just don't see it happening. Now, my basketball side of me is like, keep them on the team. The Spurs culture and way about the roster that we have right now, I'm too attached to it. I'm too attached to everyone on this roster to like make room for Thad for 1 year. And that's the other part of it, that he's only has 1 year left on his contract, and then he's going to be able to go wherever he wants. So why do we let go of assets and talented young development that we've been working on these players like Keita and Drew when we might not get that after 1 year? So the message that I'm seeing is that from Thaddeus Young, this is like the big update, is that he's here to work. He's here to be a pro, and he's going to have a good reputation. And if he's in San Antonio training camp for 3 days and he gets traded, that's fine. He's going to put his head down and go to work. And he also mentioned that he understands the nature of the business, that he was a little shocked when he heard that he was involved in the DeMar DeRozan trade, and that, he talked to the staff here in San Antonio and they communicated with him that, there's still some uncertainty about his role. And he went on to talk about that too. And that, that there's uncertainty there, but he's going to come in here and go to work with our young guys. And guys, that's nothing but good news. That's nothing but good news. The fact that Thaddeus Young has been in the San Antonio gym for about a week or two now in open gyms and getting run in with these guys. So he's teaching, he's learning, he's being a part of the organization for the time that he is here. All right. For the time that he is here. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Pooh Man, thank you for subscribing, man. I appreciate you for stopping by. All right. So Thad Young is there. Al-Farouq Aminu is there too, I guess. He was at Media Day. Al-Farouq's wearing number 77. Thad Young is wearing number 30 right now. So, man, it's still a mystery to me. And that's why it was one of the big questions. It was like the biggest question heading into training camp because there's a lot of dominoes that are going to fall with whatever decision gets made. If he gets traded or if he ends up staying, I mean, someone else is going to get traded. So a little bit of clarity with that Young, knowing that he's just kind of in the house to be a professional at the moment, right? And he's just going to work because Thad Young wants to get better. He wants to be around the organization. He likes the organization. I just don't think that the plan is for him to be here that long. So the other interview that came out today was with Jakob Poeltl. Jakob also talked about that, and he talked about how when Thad Young kind of came into the gym and started playing and getting in the scrimmages and getting in the mix with these young guys, that Jakob saw right away and felt the presence of his veteran leadership and how Thaddeus Young just kind of came into the gym and started taking over and teaching and teaching the young guys things. And like, so Thaddeus Young, guys, being in the gym for however long he's going to be here is going to be a positive for our team. I wish he can stay all year because we do need the depth. We need the depth there. But we'll go ahead and I digress, and we'll kind of move forward and wait and see on what happens with Thaddeus Young and Al-Farouq Aminu. But now let's go ahead and focus a little bit on Jakob. Jakob was asked about, what does he want to improve on this year? And he went on to talk about, hey, I want to improve on a lot of things. He said there's a lot of things on the offensive side that I need to improve on. He talked about guys like Rudy and Patty being gone and how that load that they carried is going to be spread throughout the team. And so he wants to be more aggressive. And he talked about plans this year for him to be more aggressive with the team. He said in the pick and roll, he wants to be more aggressive. And I think that's something that I've wanted to see from the Spurs is utilizing Jakob in the pick and roll, so hopefully we do get to see him being more of a finisher around the rim and getting more opportunities downhill off a screen heading to the rim. That's where Jakob can be very effective. He also talked about getting the ball on the block a little bit and going to work. So, I do remember hearing a similar quote from Jakob about 2 years ago. So I don't want to put too much hype behind that statement, but it is good to hear. It is good to hear that he's been working and that this season he's put it as a priority to get more aggressive on the offensive side of the floor. Because, I mean, he was like 6 in blocks last year, so we know what he brings to the floor defensively. But, something that I've been criticizing Jakob on since last season. If you want to go ahead to SpursTubeTv right now, the channel, and look at just some of the post-game footage from the after the buzzers from last season. I criticized Jakob a lot about not having any offensive game, that it was hurting our team. But there were a lot of things that were hurting our team last season. It wasn't just Jakob, right? So, but if Jakob can be a threat, and that's all I ask, be a threat on offense. If you're open or near the rim, or if you're on the attack mode, finish. And that's all I have for Jakob. And so those were the two interviews that, came out, at least on Twitter. Again, I wait for these interviews to get dropped on Spurs.com so I can go in there and kind of dissect them myself and pull a lot of quotes out of there. But there were only little bits and clips from these two interviews today, which was fine. Training camp is day one. I think one of the quotes from Popovich about day one is that they had a fun, energetic, fast practice. So look, the Spurs can say, look, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but this is the hype time. This is the hype zone time, right? Like right now is the time where, for you, Spurs Nation, for people like you and for me, to get excited about this year. And they're saying all the right things. Guys like Lonnie Walker and all those guys, man, they say the best things. I love hearing them talk and talking about being humble and the Spurs way and all that stuff. But we need to see it this year, right? We need to see it, right? So I'm excited. I'm excited about this season, but let's be patient, but let's be confident at the same time, because our players are confident, and they have this bond, they have this continuity together that's hard to build. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many teams in the NBA right now have any type of real continuity? Like Milwaukee has continuity. Who's been together for more than 1 or 2 years. These young group of players have been together for about 3 or 4 years now. So they know and they love each other. And that's one of the things that's going to transfer over to the court is their relationship. So, all right, guys. So let me see. I got one more announcement to make to you guys. Let me see. that is a reminder that preseason starts on Monday, October 7th against Utah and ends Friday, October 15th versus Houston. And that last preseason game against Houston is going to be the first after the buzzer of the season on SpursTubeTv. So make sure that you guys go and you subscribe to catch the post-game show from SpursTubeTv, where we give out a game ball. We talk big stats. We go over the glow spots of the game and the areas that we need to improve, the grow spots of the game, right? So been working on this show since like June. All right. So my mission here this season is not just to bring you quality content on my channel, but to bring you a awesome post-game show for you to tune into on game nights, right? And, post-game the next day or whatever, you want to go get your recap fix. SpursTube TV is the channel to subscribe to, and SpursTubeTV.com is the website that you want to go to catch a lot of Spurs content. All right, guys. So we're going to take one more quick break to hear from SpursTube TV, and then we're going to go ahead and get to a live Q&A for about 10-15 minutes here. I'm going to go ahead and take your questions from the chat room. So go ahead and leave them in there. If you have a question for me about Media Day or about training camp or just about Spurs basketball in general, again, I am Coach Rob Trejo Jr. If you want to know a little bit about myself, I've Spurs fan forever. I've been a coach in the high school system for about 7 years. So I know a little bit about the game, right? So if you like my perspective on Spurs basketball, make sure to subscribe to the channel. You get film room breakdowns. That's what I love to do for you guys, explain and dive in and break down plays and performances and things that you might not see from the team that I see, right? And I love to just, communicate and educate that with you guys. That's a lot of fun. So thank you guys for hanging out. We're going to be right back and get a quick word from SpursTube TV, and then we're going to go ahead and get into our Q&A. All right, guys. So let me go ahead and dive into this chat room here. Let me see. Phil Allen is asking, Trey Jones and Primo are backups and they're great. I absolutely think that they're going to be coming off the bench. We'll see if Primo actually gets some time this year. Let's see. Pull out some questions and some comments from you guys. Let me see. First off, Pax is saying that, yeah, Jock is from Melbourne. So that's awesome. Go Spurs go, man. Man, I would love to visit Australia one day. It's on my bucket list. And New Zealand, right? That's where they shot the Lord of the Rings movie. So I'm all about that. Let me see. Any more questions? Let me see. I see a lot of comments in here. Let me see if I can get some questions. Phil Allen says, what would you like? Here we go. What would you like? Sorry, did I miss that note? What do you see as a realistic ceiling if all of our young core take big leaps? All right, so this is a good question. What is the Spurs ceiling if the young players actually do take that huge jump? And we're talking about multiple players, right? And I think that's what Keldon and Dejounte, when asked about their ceilings, they were like, I can't tell you. We don't know how good we can be. We've never done this before. We haven't played with each other like this before. And we haven't had this responsibility before. So I think DJ and Keldon were both kind of hesitant to say, like, hey, any type of answer to that question, because, a ceiling, it's limiting. And I go back to what Keldon was saying about, Dejounte was saying about how you don't put a ceiling on yourself if you work hard and you have the ability to learn. Because if you have the ability to learn and get better and you work hard at that, great things are going to happen for you, no matter what you do, if it's basketball or whatever in your job, right? So, was that Keldon? I see someone in here. Let me see. Anyways, you guys know, you guys can scroll back through the video and check it out. But yeah, so I would respond with the ceiling for this young team, if more than one or two players make a leap, like let's say Dejounte and Derrick are having the best season of their careers, averaging 18 and 15, right? Like both of them, right? Like, um, and Keldon is right there making a push towards like all-star level quality play. And Devin Vassell is also chipping in like 15, 20 a night. When you have like four guys and Lonnie, right? So it's like, dude, so many guys can have breakout seasons this year. Um, when you look at the landscape across the Western Conference and across the league, most teams only have like two guys, right? That's kind of the norm now, except for Brooklyn. Brooklyn has everybody, right? Brooklyn has everybody and their mom. But in the Western Conference, most teams they have that 1-2 punch, right? So what I'm thinking is our 1-2 punch is going to be like a 1-2-3-4 combo. It's going to be like a combo attack, right? We're not just going to get you with Derrick and Dejounte. We're going to get you also with Lonnie killing you in transition. Keldon just tearing you up on the boards, right? Our bigs coming in to kind of step up and play big, right? So if we're all there, I mean, playoffs should be definitely in the picture. There should be no reason why we are in the lottery. That's my ceiling. Is that or I don't even want to say ceiling, that's my floor. My floor is playoffs, is play in territory, right? Because I mean, we just have too many weapons, and we're gonna have to wait and see how it all works out, but it's gonna be interesting. All right, so great question. Thank you for that, Phil. Appreciate you. Anthony asks, do you expect that we'll see much of Jock this year, or will he mostly be in Austin? No, Jock will not be in Austin. I don't think he's a rookie, but he's like a 23 or 24-year-old rookie, and he has a lot of experience underneath his belt already. So he's a pro. He's a professional already. He's not like a 19, 20-year-old kid. Like we've been drafting over the past few years and that need Austin time. I think Jock Landale has the skill to play at this level and compete for minutes. Now, what we don't know is how he's going to defend at this level, and how he's going to be able to switch on smaller players, or how he's going to be able to effectively defend the rim. So once we kind of figure that out on Jock, and to see kind of what he brings to the table defensively, is he a guy that gets his hands after it? Is he a guy that just, like Tim Duncan wasn't a great athletic dude, but he had great timing. He was getting blocks off his tippy toes just because he's smart and he can see the ball and he knows when to make a play on the ball. And I feel like if Jock can bring some of that intangible defense to the table, where maybe he's picking up charges, he's going after blocks, he's doing those type of things, then we'll see how big of a role that he'll earn. And that's the thing. He's not going to be given anything, but because of the lack of veterans on the team and the lack of depth at the big man position at this current moment, with Zach Collins still being injured, I believe Zach Collins was the only player that was not like in full practice today in training camp. So I don't know how far away Zach Collins is, but with that being the case in the scenario, the opportunity is now for Jock. And let me tell you something, man. In the NBA, it's moments like these that you got to take advantage if you're Jock. Zach Collins is injured, and who knows how long he'll take to get back. It might be a week, it might be a month, it might be 20 games, it might be 40 games to get him back into full rhythm and where he's competing at a high level enough for the Spurs to feel confident leaving him on the floor. In that meantime, Jock needs to ball out. Jock needs to prove that defensively it's gonna happen sooner than later, because I think it's fair to give him time to learn the defense, because everybody coming into the Spurs organization needs time to learn terminology, expectations, what the rotations are. If this happens, what do you do? And if this happens, what do you do? If I'm here, where do I go after that? And all that stuff. Every team does it differently. Every team defends differently, right? So like the way that the Spurs defend is very hard. It's very demanding, and Pop doesn't budge. He doesn't give on any of that expectation. He demands it, and you're going to give it to him if you want to play. And Jock, that's the only thing on my end, because I see him fitting in offensively so perfectly with the players that we have. He's a smart player. He can pass the ball. He can shoot the ball. He's skilled with his hands. You know what I mean? So I love that. I love the idea of Jock on the floor with guys like Lonnie, with Devin Vassell, guys that are agile on the perimeter, who love to come off screens, handoffs, backdoor. I think Jock can play that certain type of big role where he can facilitate. And I think our young players would benefit from that. So that's my expectation for Jock this year. Um it's not really high, but it's like it's where like I hope he surprises us. And I'm looking at that defensive end because that's what's going to get him on the floor sooner than later. All right, so here we go. Phil Allen asks again, what do you think our best starting five offensively and defensively would be at the same time? So like our best kind of blend of both, or maybe you're asking both. I'm gonna do one lineup for both, right? And it's the same lineup that I've been talking about. Derrick, Dejounte, Keldon at your 1, 2, and 3. Luca at the 4. I'm not afraid to say that. I'm not afraid to say Luca at the 4. Do I think it's gonna happen? Probably not. Especially with like Thaddeus Young, but stays on the roster. Um, and Jakob. So Luca at the 4, Jakob at the 5. That's my starting lineup that I would like to see. But if we get a little bit of Lonnie in there, a little bit of Jock in there, we'll see what we do with the 4 position. It's one of my bigger questions heading into the season. So that's my starting lineup. Michael Garcia, what's up, Michael? Says, do you believe Keldon Johnson would have a breakout season and be the leader of this team in the future? Look, man, he's getting that responsibility right now. That's one of the most interesting takeaways from Media Day is that even Pop said that Derrick, Dejounte, and Keldon are going to take that role in being a leader on and off the court, on road trips, on the bus, on planes, during travel, on off days, and all that stuff. Though that all that responsibility falls on those 3 guys. That's kind of why I kind of kept them together in the beginning of the show, because it is their burden now. And the good thing that the thing you should be happy about that is that they are naturally those people. Keldon is a natural leader by example. Dejounte is a natural leader at keep holding everybody accountable and making sure that one guy over there isn't being a knucklehead and causing problems. And if he is causing problems, Dejounte is going to go over there and make sure that issue gets fixed, right? And then Derrick, and we all know Derrick, Derrick's going to lead a little bit more quieter. He's going to lead by effort, by example on the floor. But I think we're expecting Derrick to be a little bit more vocal this year. So Keldon is definitely one of those guys right now. Man, Keldon comes in year 2, gets minutes. That was your first sign. He goes to the bubble, dominates. That was the next sign. This season, he had a great season, and then he goes gets a gold medal. And the trajectory for Keldon is just going up and up and up and up. And so I have nothing but confidence in dumping a truckload of responsibility on his shoulders because he's going to be able to carry that responsibility. All right, Guillermo Munoz asks, how did everyone get an inch taller this season, but Jakob got shorter? That's hilarious. I'm not so sure how that happens. Maybe they measured them without their shoes this year. Pax Langworthy, Spurs fan since '89. Thank you, Pax, all the way from Australia. Thank you for hanging out. What do you think of this starting lineup and bench? Okay. All right, so let's talk about it. Murray at point, White at shooting guard, Keldon at small forward. That's my 1, 2, 3. I'm with you right there. Devin Vassell at the power forward and Jock at center. Okay, so let's talk about that first. That starting lineup to me is a wonderful small ball lineup. Small ball lineup, let's go all day. I'd put Keldon at the 4 and put just switch Keldon and Devin, just because Keldon can bang a little bit more with the bigger dudes, and Vassell, not that he's a you want him defending on the wing. You want him getting steals and getting after it on the perimeter and turning defense into offense, if you ask me. So I like it. And then the bench would be Trey Jones, Lonnie Walker, Doug McDermott, McBuckets, Jock, and if healthy, Collins. I like it. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see that lineup eventually at some point on the floor. Trey Jones, Lonnie Walker, Doug McDermott as your 1, 2, and 3. I like that. Lonnie and Doug on the perimeter, and Trey Jones like putting on that true point guard hat and saying, I'm going to get Lonnie Walker plenty of shots. I'm going to find Doug McDermott open every single time. And Jock and Jock to clean up the boards. I like that. I like that. All right, so that's a good lineup. I hope we see it at some point. Peter J.S. Cho says he showed aggressiveness in the summer league. Yeah, Trey Jones did really well. Did really well. Phil Allen asks again: do you think Drew Ebanks could thrive at the 4? Yes. I think in certain situations he can thrive at the floor when he's playing against big players. If we're playing against another team that wants to go big and you want to throw Drew Eubanks at the 4 this season, there's been reports from Drew himself saying that he's going to shoot the ball more. That Chip England and the Spurs have it in the plans to let him shoot the ball and shoot the ball from the 3-point line. So if he is able to do that and becomes that stretch 4 and can bang a little bit with the power forwards in this league, like Anthony Davis, Jaren Jackson, Zion Williamson. He would have to kind of stay in front of guys like that. Who knows? I have all the confidence in Drew Eubanks. I love Drew. Okay, let me see. We're going to take a few more questions here. A few more questions. Guillermo says Spurs sound like the land of opportunity. That's the perfect way to explain this season, Guillermo. Guillermo is my grandfather's name too. So Willie, thank you, man. Thank you for hanging out, man. Appreciate it. Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of scroll down. Go, Luka, go. Luka's gonna turn some heads this season. Just we'll be patient. I'll be patient on that, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen. Tito Ramirez, what's up? Tito Ramirez has a comment here. It says, "What hurt the Spurs was the isolation ball that DeMar, Rudy, and LaMarcus Aldridge brought. There should be more movement this upcoming year." And Pop went on to talk about that as well. There's no ball stoppers. There's no superstar that needs 20 touches and needs to get his 20 points a game. There's none of those guys. And that's very interesting. Now, we are in a superstar league. Let's not forget that too, all right? Let's not be totally biased here. The NBA is built off superstars. Teams with superstars get it done. And teams that don't have superstars usually don't. Now, that being said, the Spurs are the exception if there ever was one at any point in time. This season for the Spurs is the exception in the sense of we have literally put a cap on these guys for 3-4 years and said, get hungry because your time is coming. Get hungry. Get hungrier because you want more responsibility. Earn it, earn it, earn it. And now their time is here. Now, when you put that hunger into talent, guys like Lonnie Walker and Dejounte and those guys, and you finally give them that, and they actually cherish it, because a lot of other rookies and players in this league, they come into the league right away, get all the run in the world, don't really have to earn it. It's given to them, and the expectation is like, here, you're a rookie, here, play, ball out. We have high expectations for you as a rookie, and the Spurs don't do that. We're like, hey, we're gonna take our time with you, but now it's your time. So, I mean, yeah, like there's no ball stoppers here. We're gonna need players to take that jump to like superstar status. Now, I do believe it could be one of 5 players who actually do it. So we're gonna have to wait and see if the Spurs can end up having 4 or 5 guys averaging in double figures. Is that enough to get you into the playoffs? Is that enough to get you through the playoffs? Because we all know what happens in the playoffs. The game slows down, your superstars step up, things like that, right? So who will be that guy stepping up for us? We'll see. We'll see. All right, let's see. We've got a few more in here. Let's see. Chris Lightsey, what's up, Chris? Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the tip, man. Appreciate you so much, man. That goes a long way to supporting this channel. Thank you. Could the Spurs team be like a Pistons of the 2000s, winning without a superstar? This team seems so talented and hungry that could shock the NBA. That's kind of what we're talking about right now. Right now, comparing them to that mid 2000s Pistons team, no superstar, just a bunch of tough-nosed guys, gritty-nosed guys that hung their hat on the defensive end. That sounds a lot like us right now. That sounds like a lot like what we're trying to preach right now, is that we don't have a lot of defense. I mean, a lot of offensive, star power, but we're going to hang our hats on what we do best, and that's playing defense. And that's something that Dejounte, like I said earlier, Dejounte and Derrick kind of said it they said it separately, but they both said when you defend the way we defend, and where you can actually hang your hat on that, that's what wins championships, right? And that, so I think our team has bought into, we are going to hang our hat on defense this year. And so, that reminds me of the Pistons team, right? Back in the day. So, but they were a little bit more seasoned, right? They definitely were more seasoned at that point of their heyday. Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, Rashard Wallace, Ben Wallace, those guys were already kind of vets at that point, right? But hey, in the future, us dominating games in that similar fashion is something I can see. Just defending, being a pest, right, on the defensive end. All right, so let me see. Let me go ahead and go through the chat here and pull out maybe one or two more questions, and then we're gonna go ahead and call this a day. Jason Kotara says, "I'm afraid, or best hope is become Milwaukee fans. Love the underdog, hate the super teams." When we're talking about teams that actually do have continuity in the NBA, I kind of mentioned that earlier. Milwaukee was a team I thought, because I was like, dude, Chris Middleton and Giannis have been together forever. Like, they actually do have, and Brook Lopez, right? Like, they have a lot of continuity in those three guys. So, I think that's something that we're going to bring to the table too. So we'll see. Loot Fam, what's up, Loot Fam? Thank you for hanging out. Asks, do you expect more of a beautiful game style of Spurs basketball now that we don't have an ISO heavy lead player? Yes, that's exactly Loot Fam. Pop talked about it, how these guys love playing together and sharing the ball. All the players talk about how they love each other on and off the court, and how that's going to translate into productive basketball, and no one's worried about getting their shots, and that's kind of like a low key diss. It's not a diss, because I mean everyone loves guys like LaMarcus and DeMar in that organization. They all love those guys. They don't have anything against them, but it was what it was. You give the ball to Rudy, the ball stops. You get the ball to DeMar, the ball stops. LaMarcus, the ball stops. Now, those guys were once upon a time deadly, right? So that's why you do it. That's why you give them the ball and stop, because they're going to go get you a bucket. I mean, y'all remember LaMarcus Aldridge being able to put up 20, 30 points like that, right? So, but now, this style of play that we have is definitely going to resemble 2014 beautiful game, pass, drive, kick, pass one more time, there's your open shot, right? And you got to hit it. And now we got guys like Doug McDermott expecting to hit those shots. Lonnie Walker's expecting to hit those shots and make the plays, right? And so yeah, we're gonna see a up tempo type of offense. We'll see what type of shots we get out of it. That's kind of what I'm interested in seeing. Are we gonna play fast to get threes, or are we gonna play fast to get to the rim? Because last year, we had one goal: get to the paint, get to the rim, get to the paint, put your head down, put the ball on the floor, and drive. That was pretty much 98% of our offense. The rest of it came from DeMar DeRozan. So this year it's interesting to see, now that we have more shooters on the team, more guys capable of taking that 3-point load, if we're going to be able to play with speed and hit the three ball like we did in 2014, because that's the difference. In 2014, we were fast, but we were lighting it up from the 3-point line. We were. It was crazy. It was crazy. So we need to get a little bit of that back in our system. We need to take some more threes. Obviously, we were like bottom of the league in 3-point attempts last year. So obviously that needs to change. And if we can do that while staying fast and while maintaining our defensive integrity, the ceiling is crazy high. And it's going to resemble a lot of 2014 basketball, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, so let me see. Let me scroll down here. Million GNU, thank you so much for the comment. Love your content, man. How would you compare our young lineup to the rest of the younger teams in the league, i.e. Wolves, Hornets, OKC, and maybe the Pelicans? Comparing our team to some of those other teams, I would say we're head and shoulders above the Wolves. Not even close, even though they have Karl Anthony Towns. Doesn't matter. The Hornets are trending upwards. I would say if we're going to play them 10 times, they'll probably beat us 4 or 5 times, because they're a good team. Terry Rozier is good, and and they're well coached over there in Charlotte. So they're a good team. They're kind of like where we're at. I think we have an edge on them, talent wise, scoring wise, and defensively. I don't think there's any. I honestly don't think there's many teams out there that can defend like we can, top of the league or bottom of the league, to be honest. OKC's young and they're doing their own thing. They're going to be okay, but they're definitely not even going to be close to that playoff picture in my eyes. And we are. The Pelicans, though. The Pelicans with Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, those two guys alone, who cares who else is on their team, will be tough. Are they better than us? They weren't last year, right? I don't think they were. No. Yeah, so we'll see how that plays out for them. They got a new coach. So it's hard to say how good the Pelicans are going to be too. A lot of unknowns. So we'll see. I would say we are in a better situation than all of those guys, than all of them. The Hornets are in a good one. OKC looks like they'll be in a good situation at some point. Not right now, but at some point. Jason says, sorry, buddy, we are locked into a 9th seed. Hey, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And if we get that 9th seed and that's where we're at, we're in that play-in situation, I'm okay with that. Okay, let's see. Let me pull a couple more in here. We'll do one more. Question is from NWash23. Are the Spurs doing an open scrimmage game this year? That's a great question, and I would lean towards no. But since I think restrictions are pretty minimal at this point, there's a possibility of them doing their open scrimmage. Every year, those of you guys that don't know what we're talking about, every year before, at the end of training camp, kind of before the preseason starts, I'm not sure if it's during the preseason or before. I want to say it's before. There's like a white versus black scrimmage where the teams are split up and it's like free. It's free to anybody in San Antonio. You just go ahead and go in there, walk in the building, and it's free. Now, that was before COVID, obviously. So another through line throughout all of media day was COVID vaccinations, right? Because we know that that's an issue happening throughout the NBA. There's a lot of teams out there that there's a lot of players out there that are against getting vaccinated, and that's affecting their status of being eligible to play, right? So in the state that they're in or whatever, right? So there's a lot of friction in the NBA between the players that want to get vaccinated and that don't, and the teams that they want their players to get vaccinated but they don't want to. And it's going to end up coming down to money. That's what I think. The players that don't want to get vaccinated, if they're willing to lose money because of it, meaning that they're not going to be able to play games or be a part of the team or whatever, well, then that's their choice. Now, something that the Spurs have been talking about is that they all got vaccinated, and they're all vaccinated, and that's not going to be an issue. And that's another positive for this team, is that, I mean, it's not basketball related, but there's a lot of teams out there that they're probably having those internal debates amongst themselves and amongst the organizations about vaccinations and whatnot. And our squad is not. Our squad so far is saying that they all want to do what's best for themselves, the team, the fans, and that's to get vaccinated, apparently. So, we'll see. We'll see if there's an open scrimmage game. As soon as I know, I'll try to tweet it out or something. So make sure to follow me on Twitter or Instagram. All right. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you guys for joining us. We had about 75 of you guys, almost 100 of you at one point. Spurs fans all around the world gathering together to talk some Spurs basketball. Go Spurs go. If you want to support this channel, guys, you're doing it right now. You're watching this video, and that goes a long way. So thank you so much for just enjoying the content. But if you want to support even more, guys, you can do just the free stuff. Smash that like button. Chant Go Spurs go when you do. It sends good luck waves to Spurs fans all over the world, right? From Hong Kong, Singapore, all the way back over here to Texas, right? Make sure to hit that notification bell so you get notified when we drop new clips, new content, new film room breakdowns, and when we go live on the channel. So make sure to hit that notification bell so you do get notified on a notification on your device. Leave a comment, even if it's as simple as Go Spurs Go. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, if you tell me I'm crazy, whatever. I love reading all the comments that come in here. And as long as they're, like respectable, shoot, I can dig all the comments that come in through here. So thank you guys. Make sure to share this video with the rest of Spurs Nation. Now, if you want to go even more like above and beyond, if you want to really help this channel grow and succeed this season, there's a link in the description to the Patreon for this channel. And it's also the Patreon for SpursTubeTv. You support both channels when you join the Patreon. You get giveaway entries, there's merch discounts, shout outs, there's voting power. So, I'm doing a Patreon only podcast where I'm kind of diving in a little bit behind the scenes on what's going on here on the channel and on SpursTubeTV. So very excited about that. And just trying, what I'm going to try to do as well is pull out a Sunday show that's answering Patreon questions every Sunday. Now or at least 2 Sundays a month, every other Sunday. But it's going to be a Patreon only like questions submitted show. So if you want to support this channel, go ahead and hit that link in the description to take you to the Patreon page. And that goes a long way. You can sign up for the $5 a month, $10, $15 a month, whatever you feel you can do and whatever you feel you can contribute. That goes a long way to supporting this channel. Literally, like it helps me pay. And I got a newborn son, right? So that really does help me keep the lights on for this show and for SpursTubeTV. It helps me pay for the StreamYard that I use to broadcast to you guys. It helps me pay for the Adobe that I use to create the graphics, the thumbnails, and all that type of stuff. So it helps me in a lot of different ways. And, there's more goals in the future this season. I plan on like putting in a full-time load of work into bringing you guys 2 shows a week and giving you guys at least 2 after the buzzers a week on the other channel, right? So I'm going to be putting in a lot of content, some film breakdowns, at least 2 or 3 of those a week, and then clipping as well, right? Like clipping our long form content into more digestible, smaller pieces of content. So putting in a lot of work here, and the Patreon support is what's going to help get us through the season. So thank you so much to Frenchie Betts, Arno Midnight, Juan Rodriguez, Philip Allen. Thank you guys so much for being Patreon members and supporting this show, man. It goes a long way. But again, if you can't contribute to a monthly Patreon right now, that's totally fine. You know what you can do? Smash that like button down below. Chant Go Spurs Go when you do. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel already, make sure you do that. Share this video with the rest of Spurs Nation so other Spurs fans can also join in on the fun. It's going to be a lot of fun this season. I'm super pumped. The sky is the limit. There is no ceiling. Don't put a cap on how good or how bad this team can be. Training camp just started. We're going to get a good week or 2 of training camp. We're going to start getting preseason games on the 4th, which is next Monday. Right. So we're going to get some Spurs basketball, baby. And I am so excited. I'm so excited because I've been planning for this season since June and May. Like when we were in the play-in mix against Memphis, I was already foreseeing what I wanted this channel to become and what I wanted SpursTubeTV to become, right? And SpursTubeTV.com. So I've been working on all that. And it's all for you. It's all for Spurs Nation out there. So if you want to support what we do here, thank you so much. And watching and chanting Go Spurs Go and just being a Spurs fan, man. Because, there's not like a crazy amount of us, but man, we're international. We're global. We're doing it the right way over here in Spurs in San Antonio, Spurs fans, man. So thank you guys. I guess I'm running out of things to say over here. But thank you guys so much. Again, head over to SpursTubeTV.com. Check out the website. It has a lot of videos. It has podcasts, like the Spurs and Salsa podcast, the At the Line podcast, Alamo City Limits, SSPN. You get a lot of good content over there. So make sure to go check that out. All of these content creators are going to be hosting after the buzzer this season on SpursTubeTV. It's going to be so much fun hanging out with these other Spurs content creators and just talking Spurs basketball and getting Spurs basketball off of our chest this year. So it should be a blast. All right. So if you haven't, there's a link in the description below down there. It's like SpursTubeTV, right? You'll see it. Make sure to go ahead and check that out, man. Go Spurs Go. Again, the next live show will be Saturday, right? Will be Saturday around 10, 11 in the morning. So hit that notification bell so you get notified when we go live. The season is going to be so interesting. I have a schedule right now, a content schedule, and I'm going to try to do my best to stick with that schedule for you guys. And if there's ever any time for me to do more and get on live and take your questions and all that stuff, I'm definitely going to be doing that. So it's going to be a lot of fun this year. Go Spurs, go. Don't worry. I am Knox. You can always watch this again and again and again and again as much as you want, right? So go Spurs, go. It's going to be a great season. Adios, Spurs Nation. Hope you have a wonderful night wherever you are in the world. Hope you're safe. Hope your belly is full. Hope you're ready to get some rest and take on Wednesday tomorrow, right? Tomorrow is day 2 of training camp. If you guys like this news kind of breakdown style show I'm doing and you want me to do that a few more times a week, definitely let me know in the comments. If I get the feedback from you guys, then I'll try to open up another show during the week. But Tuesday is always going to be here. Tuesday is a great day to get on and chat with you guys. The turnout's always really awesome. So now Saturday is going to be the new Thursday show, right? So Saturday now. That's also so I can just do more other types of content for you guys. So I'm very excited. Very excited. All right, guys. So go Spurs, go. Have a good night. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Adios, Spurs Nation.